Record it then. Yeah. Can roll.
So there's a password on the calendar invite that hasn't been updated. It still says hot dog, and everyone's messaging me right now.
Oh my Lord, hang on. I was talking to Audra about this. I'm like, we need to stop using the calendar. It's too much of a mess. And just have everybody be in our group and on our newsletter because I'm dropping the ball on that. And it's kind of messy. Okay, so let me change that super quick.
Everybody that's on the calendar invite should also get the newsletter, though. I went through
Yeah,
there.
but they're not reading the email. They're going to the calendar invite, and the calendar
Oh,
invites
that's
had the password. So
100 episodes later, and we're still figuring out the quirks.
maybe by episode 200 we'll figure this out.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, I'm gonna update that quick while you guys kick it off. Do your thing.
Hey, everybody!
Good morning.
We saw Malcolm for a second, and then he disappeared because I have on camera people hidden.
Get a haircut.
I know I lost 10 pounds doing it. It was so much hair.
Samson.
That's my kid's favorite Bible story.
Okay, everybody should be getting a nice hot new email message here on the password, so we should be good.
How fancy are we, huh?
We so fancy.
You already know.
I'm glad you picked up what I was putting down there because it wasn't quite.
All right. Well, happy Monday, y'all. It's a fantastic, fabulous, super fun, freaky Monday. Our 100th episode. This is wild. So what's interesting, and for those that are on, it's our 100th recorded podcast episode since we started doing this as a group for Leverage Agent. And for the 100th recorded episode for the podcast, we thought we'd take a second and just, in honor of the gap in the gain, take a second and really just kind of go back and review kind of where we started and where this what all we've done up to this point, right? I think so often we spend so much time continuing to move the goal line and keep pushing. We don't spend enough time seeing where we came from and how we got here. And this would be a little bit of a reminisce, a little bit of story time, and a little bit of just celebration. 100 episodes, pretty dang cool. I posted not long ago that, what was it, 98% of podcasts don't get past episode, or 90% of podcasts don't get past episode 3, and then the next 90% don't make it past episode 10. So we are in rare air with you all. All right, here we go. Anyone, quick gratitudes, wins, celebrations, other than I'm so excited and grateful that we're at the 100th episode. So there's mine. Go.
I'm going to ditto that just to keep it quick.
I'll triple ditto it. No, I guess it'd be a double ditto.
I'm thankful for that, but I also am thankful I had a great open house yesterday.
Woo-hoo! Anyone else? I guess we're just going to roll. Is that it? And why are you guys on mute?
Are we waiting for more people to go?
Go if you're ready.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just got on. I had the wrong password. Yeah, I'm grateful for the listings that I have coming up this week. I mean, it's getting already feels like springtime.
Oh, it's on.
Yeah.
It's on in Kansas City for real. For real.
Really? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Literally like someone flipped a switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nice.
Multiple offers, everything. It's crazy.
It's going to be 75 today.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm as soon as my last call's over, I am out. Bounce. going to be throwing plastic at chains. That's it. Anyone else? Gratitudes, celebrations, wins.
I'm grateful I finally figured out a babysitting situation for my son so that I can go all in.
Woo woo! Awesome, awesome. All right, anyone else?
I got a good gratitude. My wife had some things to do, so she left, and so I was alone with my boys over the weekend, and we rolled around and because it's mud season right now in Minnesota, nothing but just brown and mud right now. So then the boys loved it.
Do you have dogs?
I have a dog, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This is where I get to find out where I have to overseed. I got dog runs for days. My neighbor put turf. There's a special turf that you could put seed on, and the turf holds the dog runs in, and the grass grows up through the turf. So it looks like real grass, but it's turf underneath. So it doesn't tear up. It's pretty legit.
Oh, dude,
I'm
it would stick out so much right now. It
well,
would,
right now it would, but not when it counts.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Awesome. Awesome. So here we are. How did we get here? 100 episodes. Super, super exciting. Um, when Michelle and Audra and I started doing this, gosh, a year ago now. I don't know if like I didn't have an expectation or I didn't have like a goal. Like you think like how'd you get to 100? And it's literally one episode at a time, 1 week at a time, right? Like there was never, I don't know if we've ever had a conversation like, all right, when we get to 400 episodes and then we can monetize and retire. It's not that at all, right? What's interesting. So this experiment, if you will, this project, this call started on October 17th, 2022. On October 17th, 2022 was the very first Conversations That Convert call that so when I'd come over to EXP in April, May of 2022 or 2021, wait, 2022, I'm so good at dates and stuff. We would have like masterminds, we would have some in-person meetings and some other things. And I just recall going like, okay, so how do we create some community, some connection, and some collaboration in a digestible and easy format that can help people get started with their day, that would provide people with a little bit of energy and excitement and some spark to get things started. And so what's interesting is the reason why it was called Conversations That Convert is that it was first designed to be a scripting and role play call, where one of the biggest challenges that I was seeing in our community is that everyone knows what to do, everyone knows who to call, but a lot of agents just have a lot of call reluctance or hesitancy doing lead generation, and oftentimes it's because they just don't know what to say. They didn't know what to say. They didn't know how to respond to any objections. And so I said, okay, one of the best ways to create some confidence is to increase our competency. So competency breeds confidence, and confidence creates certainty. Certainty takes action. And so I started this call on October 17, 2022 to just help empower and give agents the tools and the words, the conversations that would help them convert, create more business. What was interesting is that call at like if you can, do I have permission to screen share?
We should.
All right.
Let me
I,
make
re- I was recording these calls from the beginning. And so here's a special treat. I'm going to share with you the very first Conversations That Convert call. And so you can see kind of where we are versus where we started. And can you guys see this? See
we do.
here we go. Why is there no sound? Can you guys hear it? Anything?
Uh-uh.
What the heck? Well, this is the call. And this is where it all started. I don't why is there no sound?
Click on the sound button on the bottom right and see if, keep going. There you go. See if you got it turned up all the way. I don't know.
Yeah. And
Probably said something inappropriate and it can't. It's
you probably locked up some kind of setting. So anyway, that was going to be my little treat to you guys. However, so that call started there, and then as the call kept going further and further and moving on, it was like one of those things that was like, okay, I caught myself kind of getting trapped in I was doing this all by myself. And so I'm like, okay, conversations that convert. And then so I'm coaching and teaching leverage. And now I'm like not leveraged. And so how do I change that as a coach and a leader? And so Audra and Michelle and I have been coaching together for almost 2 years now. Audra, it's like 2 years.
Years in November.
2 years in November. Michelle's right around the same time. And so they were on the calls for quite some time. And then at some point, we had a conversation with, Michelle was growing her business, also wanting to coach and mentor. Audra was growing her coaching business at the company that she was at. And then when you joined, we just said, hey, why don't we start like collaborating and working with leveraged agent and taking on this, and let's kind of create a little bit more of a cadence and a system around this. And that's kind of where the beginning of these episodes started. So why don't you guys share kind of your memory and perspective of how this got started, and then we'll go from there.
hit it off, Audra.
So I think the first time I ever logged on to a CTC call, I got on for about 15 seconds because it was literally, like you said, role play. And I was terrified that someone was going to call me out and make me say something. So I just got off of Zoom real quick. And I was like, oh, I need to do that. It was always on my calendar. And then we started coaching together, and I would show up every now and then. And then you had me as a guest. Oh, I'd hit some goals. And I was like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
you hit your annual goal in the first 90 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Get coaching. If you want to do that, you need to coach. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to actually talk on this call now. So I did. And then I would get on every now and then, but then it really kind of took off for me whenever we did decide, hey, why don't we do this together? And I a little bit before that, you actually said, hey, since we're doing this coaching together, I want y'all to step in and help with these calls. Y'all are going to help lead these calls. And I was like, okay. Yes, because that's my motto these days, right? Just say yes and just do the thing. And then we just started doing it. And I remember the very first one that I was by myself on. Y'all were both out of town or something. And I was prepared. I was ready to go. And it was like 15 minutes and everyone was quiet. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. How do I stretch this out? And I think we ended at like 20 minutes because I was nervous and like freaked out. And it's just fun to see how it's progressed now. It's like it goes by so fast. I look up and I'm like, dang, we're already at time. I could keep talking and this is fun and people are interacting and it's growing. It's just so fun to see everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I had been jumping on the calls too, and just kind of at first I was kind of a spectator, and then would be one that probably chimed in enough that Matt was like, someone else probably needs to talk. But eventually, I had opened up to Matt during coaching and said, I'm doing this mentorship program with my current brokerage, and they have an opportunity for me to become broker, potentially do some education with the brokerage. And we were working through that. But things weren't panning out quite like I had hoped. There just wasn't a lot of clarity on what that role was going to look like financially, time commitment, a whole bunch of things were going up in the air. And one day Matt texted me and said, "Hey, I have an idea and I want to bounce it off you." And so he had talked to me about joining him alongside with coaching. And this mysterious person that he wouldn't tell me who it was, which happened to be Audra. I'm pretty savvy, so I could do some research and I figured it out. But
Well, she
I
hadn't made a move yet, so I couldn't
I
say
know,
it.
I know. Yeah, and so the hard part about that was, I was at the same brokerage as my mom. I had made some commitments to this brokerage and I had to make a really tough decision. It didn't make sense for us to coach together unless I came over to EXP just because of the nature of how EXP, this collaborative environment, rev share, everything. It made it a lot easier if we were together. So I had to make a really hard decision at that point. I'm so thankful my mama's back with me at EXP. But honestly, she was so supportive. When I told her that, she said, "Go follow your heart." Like, I would have done that earlier. And thankfully, she gave me that freedom to not feel guilty about going and chasing after what I really wanted. So I think it's a wild how far we've come. It's just starting from, hey, we're going to start having some calls together to really making it something that was officially the leveraged agent that we're doing together. Um, Gained some new friends and yeah, it's been a fun and wild ride. And I think all three of us, even in just the last year since we've combined forces, have all experienced a different level of personal growth and a different level of just being in the right rooms with the right people, having different conversations than we probably would have had we not been willing to put ourselves out there and do this together.
I'm glad you segued directly into my next series of questions. So, as a coach, I can't help but also dig in a little bit deeper. And so, Audra and Michelle, my question to you guys is, who did you have to become this year to step into the being that you are today? And what did you have to overcome?
That's a great question. Overcoming for me was definitely a lot of fear. A lot of I mean, I knew that I made the right choice when I moved over to EXP and Leverage Agent. Like I didn't doubt that, but there were also parts I had thoughts where I was like, oh my gosh, am I enough? Am I going to let people down, specifically the two of you? Um, there was so much fear around that, around like Matt and Michelle are going to totally regret me coming over here and doing this with them. Um, oh, and speaking in front of people, that I would say was probably, I spoke in front of people all day, every day with the coaching program that I had here, but this was different. And I don't know, there was a lot of fear around that. And as far as who I had to become, I think I'm still becoming. I don't think I'm ever finished. And it's different than I would have thought. And if you rewinding a year to when we started to now, I think all of us can say all three of us are in places that we didn't expect a year ago. And so as far as becoming, I think it's still becoming. It's becoming more confident. It's becoming confident in speaking, but also in just me and being comfortable with just letting me be me, if that makes sense. And realizing that this sounds so like, ooh, but I'm pretty great. And just being okay with sharing
Good
that.
for you. Good for you.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
hard. It's still hard to say that because it feels so like, I don't know, but I'm kind of awesome. And I love work that I get to work with the two of y'all
You are
because you're
awesome.
really awesome.
Michelle, same
Yeah.
question.
Oh man. It was I don't even know if I recognize the girl from a year ago, to be honest. It's been a lot of self-growth and self-love. Same thing, Audra. Like I feel like I'm still evolving. Like we're these beautiful flowers and we're just blooming still. That was a really bad analogy. But I feel like I'm just ever changing, right? And there was a lot of like two steps forward, one step back kind of moments. Sometimes one step forward, two step back moments last year where there was like I went into it gung ho with all this confidence and this is going to be great, and then I fell back. I remember having a conversation with you, Audra, a few months in, and I'm like, what am I contributing? I feel like I'm just writing off of you guys because you guys had all this knowledge and this confidence, and I just didn't feel like I exhibited that at the same level that you guys did. But doing a lot of personal development. I think that being part of this podcast made me feel like I had to level up myself so that I could level up for other people. So I got consistent in my morning routine and my workouts and my Bible reading and my personal development reading and all of that, and really rediscovered who I was and found that kind of nugget of like, I'm pretty awesome. I found that love for myself that I don't know that I've ever really loved myself. I've loved other people really hard, but I don't know if I've loved myself. And I feel like I can confidently go into this now and say, like, this has helped me, like helping other people and having to level up for other people has had the side effect of just letting me be able to look at myself in the morning and go, you're pretty freaking awesome. I love you. Like it's been wild from that perspective.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a level of accountability. Like you said, you do have to, we feel like this responsibility, I guess, to make sure that we are constantly growing. And so that way we can pour that, everything that we're bringing in, pour it back into everybody else. So it's like just extra accountability to make sure that we're continuing to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the biggest lessons that I think I can share with this is number one, if you want to fast track your growth and your development, put yourself in a position where other people are counting on you to show up consistently. Right. So for me, I know the call was like, okay, I want to help our agents grow. And then by setting it up for 3 days a week at this time to this time, every single week without fail, I had to always like it forced me because for those of you that actually know me beyond this call, like I'm not, I'm not as like crazy driven. Like I'm a procrastinator and I'm innately extremely lazy. Like if I could do nothing and like I don't know, like there's times where I just want to disappear for a month and play video games. Like legit, that's me. So, in order to combat that, like if I know that that's inside here and that's my default setting, I have to put myself in a position where I can't fall back on my default. How so my desire to not let people down is way greater than my procrastination. And so I knew that like in order for me to continue to grow, I had to put myself in a position where people were counting on me to show up. And so since October 17th, 2022, 3 days a week from 9 to 9:30, we're on this call. We're on this call. And so that's lesson number one, right? So being consistent and being disciplined and consistent is a lot easier when somebody else is counting on you. If you're constantly running solo and by yourself, you're truly limiting your opportunity to grow. You're the level of accountability that you think you have, even though you like for yourself, it's not, it's like a 6 where it could be a 9. So you may show up, but like, are you really showing up to failure? Are you really showing up to level up for yourself? The fact that like there's other people on this call requires me to like now I make sure that I'm listening to some powerful thought leaders. I'm reading the right books. I'm going to the right rooms, and I'm bringing as much of the high level content and the market of the moment stuff that I can in order to provide value to everybody at scale. So that would probably be my biggest lesson. The second lesson is this is like model the masters. Model the masters. And in the MREA book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book by Gary Keller, he talks about leverage. And what's interesting is our coaching company is called the Leveraged Agent. And leverage has 3 parts to it. And it's not leads, listings, leverage. A lot of people think it's the 3 L's. It's not leads, listing, leverage. It's people, systems, and tools. And in order for us to truly be leveraged, I needed to find myself some great people. I found Michelle and Audra and all you guys on this call. And then we had to create a system. What was our system? Well, we created a cadence. Mindset Mondays, Workshop Wednesdays, Feature Friday or Freestyle Friday. That was our system. And now the tools that we use is Zoom, calendar invites. Now we have our newsletter. We've got our Facebook page. So those are our tools that we now distribute the system. and leverage through the people. So in order to, and so the first level of leadership is truly understanding leverage. Leverage, again, people, systems, tools. If you're leading anything, the worst thing you can do is be a silo of leadership. So be centralized leader, have everyone report to you and you be the head of everything. My goal is to decentralize everything and have everyone else run the stuff. And then I just offer advice and support and then vision. And so your number one role as a leader of yourself and others is to develop other leaders. If you've got people in your charge and in your care, and you're not really diving in beyond commissions and beyond units to what sets their souls on fire, you're doing them a disservice because you're really not helping them grow. Some people, yeah, like they also just want to make sure, like, once you get people to survive, like make enough money to survive, then help them make enough money to thrive. Once they now start getting beyond the survive to thrive, now you can start developing some other things. And this is where purpose gets found. I just posted a reel on purpose can't be journaled. You can't, it has to be discovered through trying different things. And so as a coach and as a leader, my goal is to push people outside their comfort zone, because right outside your comfort zone is where you find your purpose. Everything you have in your life is inside your comfort zone. Everything you want is just on the other side. Everything that you desire is just on the other side. I had some incredible leaders that pushed me outside of my comfort zone really quickly. I remember really specific. There was one time where we were at a regional leadership clinic, and I was a brand new assistant team leader, and we were at a table with all of the top agents in our office, and my team leader said, "Okay, you're running the next section. Cast the vision." And I'm like, "Huh?" He goes, "Cast the vision for next year's leadership council." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Go to page 17, 18, and 19 in the manual and lead the group." But it was those moments when being put and cast like into the pit, that's where you find who you are. That's where I discovered who I was. That's where I really, really was able to finally step in and go, okay, this is what I'm called to do. So those would probably be my three biggest lessons. Number one is understand what your weaknesses are and set yourself up in an infallible way to fight against them. For me, that's putting myself in like a mandatory way to show up. Otherwise, I will like kind of retreat back into the shadows. That's my natural behavior to do that. Or I get distracted, or like another one of my strengths, which is also my weakness, is I always love to start things and I get really excited about stuff and I'll attack and I'll have all these things started, but then I'll never actually gain mastery in one area. I'm just always kind of good. And everyone's like, "Oh, wow, like you're so courageous and you do these things." And I'm like, "Yeah, I start stuff, but I got a whole bunch of shit that's not finished." And then what happens then is like I never take the time to really sit in the boredom of mastery and really kind of start making those incremental shifts to like excellence, where they're like 0.5% or 0.1% increases, versus when it's new, when you're starting something new, it's super fun because you see 10-15% increases and those are exciting. But once you get to a certain level of like competency, the changes, like at the elite level, the difference is when you talk about like Olympic runners or elite anything, the differences in the times, the differences in the stats and the metrics are minuscule, but those minuscule differences are all the difference. And some people work 4 years to do that 10th of a second increase or that 0.2 of a second increase, and that's the difference between gold and eighth. So my desire to run things all often left me ignoring the boredom of mastery. And so this has been just kind of exciting. I would say this is probably the one thing that I've done more consistently than anything else. And so this has just been kind of fun. Holy crap, we're at time. How did we get here already?
Oh,
It disappears.
it disappeared. But I think before we end it, we do need to give you a big thank you because you had faith and confidence in us. You had the courage to allow us to step into your world and kind of um, turn something that was yours into something that is ours. And I feel like we've just been able to make a really big impact and give back to so many people by doing that. And I know that wasn't comfortable. I know it's really hard to give up something when you've worked so hard for it to be yours, but
To be fair, it's never been mine. It's always been for everyone. I started this for everyone else. It wasn't for me. I think that's probably that's probably the biggest thing that I can share is that it's never been mine. It's always been yours. It's always been all of yours. I just happen to be the one that starts the Zoom.
then you let Audra and I run with our crazy ideas.
So I don't have to. It's leverage.
And back, I mean, just following up with what she said, thank you for believing in us enough to push us enough to get us outside of our comfort zones, to find our purposes and our passions and things that we're still discovering and things that you still do for us every single day. So thank you.
This wasn't the way this was supposed to go. So stop.
Yeah, Matt, I just wanted to say thanks. I've been on this call. I think it's almost been 2 years that I've been doing it. So just a little after, I think because what you said you got started in October. Did you say October?
22, yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't get on the call till I think like the spring of 23. But yeah, I've been on it for like 2 years. And people ask me like all the time, or because I had like done my, business had more than doubled. And they kept asking me like, what are you doing? What are you doing? They're like, they kept thinking it was some magic thing. And I kept coming back to like this call. I was like, I feel like it's like the change started from this. And I mean it. I like, honestly, it really did. Just being like I like some mornings, I'm not a morning person. So getting up and like getting going and having something like this, it's just a good way to get everything started and flowing from there. And it's definitely given me other ideas and just made me think outside the box on a lot of stuff too. So, and it's just when getting a glimpse of what other agents are dealing with and stuff all of the time and how they're responding to things. I think it's helped. I know that it's helped me. It's kind of like scripts and role play. It's having when you're in those moments and you're in those experiences, you're kind of more ready for things when they come along. So thank you.
No, thank you. Thanks for being here. You did the work.
Mm-hmm.
We just happen to be here talking.
Yeah.
Hey, Julian. You got something to say?
I got a ton to say, man. Guys, I've known Matt for a while now. He was one of the first people that, when I was transitioning out of a different institution, that I ended up meeting with. And, I mean, as the years progressed, I won't go into the whole story, but I have transitioned over into EXP, and I just look forward to you, Matt, and all the knowledge that you always put into people, and someone that has a lot. I feel like Matt is like me, or I'm him in another universe. All the stories that he tells, like all the situations, personal things that has happened in his life. I'm like, dude, like, how are you and me so much there? So when I look at Matt and I see all of your greatness, dude, I know that I'm just right around the corner because it's just so similar. So I am excited to be in EXP. I'm excited for your knowledge, as well as you, Michelle and Audra and everyone else on the call. And yeah, man, I can't thank you enough.
It was 3 years in the making.
Yeah.
And right on time.
That's it.
So what I'll leave you guys with is simply this. In the club, we all fam. At least I entertain myself. All right, guys, we will see you on Wednesday, same time, same channel for the next several thousand episodes with Leverage Agent. I appreciate you all. We wouldn't be here without an audience. So you guys are fantastic. You guys are what makes this all possible. Thank you guys. I'm super grateful.
Bye.
Bye.